Yeah, don't get used to me being early, but I wanted to make a good first impression so that it's just constant. It's going to be constant disappointment from here on out. Sorry about that.
And this is Gatriarchs. So I'm in the phase right now where my son is asking me questions about everything, which is actually kind of fun. He'll be like, Daddy, why does a car beep or whatever? And it's kind of fun, right? And it's kind of a fun game where he'll ask you a question that sounds totally normal. And then you having to verbalize this thing that everyone just knows is really fucking hard. And the other day he came out with borderline an impossible question. And he said, Daddy, what's the sky for?
Oh.
And I went, well, and it just stopped me in my tracks. What is the sky for? I know what the sky's made out of. I know what the sky looks like. What is the sky for? I don't fucking know. So he literally stopped me in my tracks with that. But like every day are these questions, and sometimes I'll ask you a normal question, and you're just like, I don't fucking know the answer to that.
That is some profound shit right there. And kids are profound, obviously. But I got to say, in that questioning phase, it's not so much profound. It is just infuriating. Have you gotten sick of the questions yet? Because
I'm only sick of the questions.
You wait. We need
Jesus.
a sound. We need a sound cue for a just you wait.
There it's like Gavin says, "Just you wait." Yeah. No, but he'll the only thing that bothers me is when he'll be like, why is there a traffic light? I'll be like, oh, it's to tell the cars when to go. He'll go, why? I'm like, so it doesn't cause traffic accidents. Why?
Why?
He's not saying why because he wants further description of the answer. He's saying why because it's fun to say. And that makes me crazy.
It's so Socratic to just keep asking, yes, but why? Yes, but why? And it's awesome. But just you wait. Oh my God. The times, I mean, this is where my assholishness came out so much years ago when we were in the constant why phase. And I think I was pretty good about answering stuff, but eventually I'd be like, okay, enough of the questions. Okay, just there comes a time. Enough of the questions. Now, right now, my daughter is in the asking phase where she asks me things that she already knows the answer to regularly. Like she'll ask me, Daddy, do you like chicken salad? I'm like, I'm making chicken salad right now. So, and you know this about me already, that we have chicken salad a lot. Or that was
Daddy, why are you drinking from that box labeled Franzia?
Yet again. Daddy, do you like Franzia? Daddy, do you drink Franzia every single day? And I'm like,
Daddy,
sweetie,
why are you crying on the toilet?
You know the answer to all of these things. Franzia is the point of it all. Or asking her brother, so what instrument are you going to play next year? What instrument are you going to play next year? Are you going to play lacrosse? Are you going to play soccer? And she knows the answer to all these things. And I'm like, is this a trick? Is she playing mind games with us, or does she just want to hear herself talk? She has run out of things to talk to, so she's asking us inane questions. And I know someday I'm going to miss it, but
just you wait, Gavin. Just you wait.
Just I wait. But I could do with less of the inane questions for sure.
Well, you know what we don't have to wait for is our top 3 list this week. We're going to jump right into it because we got a great guest today. We don't want to keep them waiting. So this week, all right, you tell us, what is our top 3 list?
The top 3 unintentionally inappropriate things your kid has accidentally said or done that made you think, oh, we should not be doing that in public. For me, it actually starts out in public. Number 3, my daughter was running around topless when she was 2 years old on the beach, and she found 2 seashells, and she was obsessed with The Little Mermaid at the time, and so she put the seashells over her nipples to say, see, Daddy, I have shells, just like Ariel. And it was pretty funny, her obsession with little boobies at the time then. Number 2, penis rockets. I don't know how many times my kids drew rockets that all looked like penises. They all, we went through a solid 6-month phase of just dicks being drawn at school and being sent home. Dick pics coming home. Number 1, one time I was playing hide and seek with my kids, and my daughter, who was about 3 at the time, came out from hiding behind my bed, and she had a bottle of lube in her mouth. And I think I might have snapped a picture of it because it was so goddamn funny. So Yeah, those are the 3 unintentionally inappropriate things by kids.
What was the lube for, David?
Squeaky wheels.
All right, so
David,
my
what about
top
you?
3 list. Okay, so at number 3, if you follow me on TikTok, you've seen this video. I am a little bit of a verbal driver, and my son overheard me say fucking asshole. And when we parked where we were going, I heard this voice in the back seat rehearsing, going, fucking asshole, fucking asshole. And if you watch the video, you can see him rehearsing it like he was fucking practicing for Hamlet. He was like, fucking asshole, and saying it over and over and over again. So I have video of that one. So that's number 3. Number 2, this happened about 4 days ago. It was one of his Emmett's grandmother's birthdays. And so we called him and we said, we called her and we said, hey, wish your grandmother a happy birthday. And Emmett looked at the camera and said, happy birthday, butthole. And so that was really nice. And number 1, back to Emmett and his other grandma. She was visiting us, and Emmett was talking about all the penises at his school. This kid has a penis, and this kid has a penis, and this kid's penis is really big, which is already awkward enough. And then he asked my mom, grandma, he said, Grandma, how big is your penis? And that shut her up pretty quick.
Oh, she didn't have a response.
She just looked at me like, what do I do? I said, this is your grandkid. Don't look at me. So, yeah.
Oh, David, how can we be inappropriate next week with the next top 3 list?
So next week's top 3 list is top 3 things that are adorable if a kid does it, but not adorable if an adult does it. All right. So our guests this week are 2 friends of mine, and I'm going to read their bios they sent me word for word. Rob.
Oh, we've never had anybody submit their own bios.
Rob leads guest experience for a major retailer, head of a local Pride Alliance nonprofit, and former Miss Teen USA.
Yeah.
Carl currently works as an education administrator and has a background in addictions counseling, acting, and 6 years of pretending to be the bodies of other people as a stand-in on CBS's The Good Wife. Now, our guests this week live close enough to me that they can hear my nightly screams to put on your fucking shoes from their back porch. So please welcome to Gatriarchs, Rob Lyons and Carl Tanis.
Yay.
Hi,
Rob,
Carl. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Former Miss Teen USA. And Rob, by the way, Carl, that's not a joke. Carl was a hand model. You were a hand double for the lead of that show. Is that correct?
It's true, and my hand was in the Times Square billboard. Yeah.
As Juliana Margulies' hand?
Exactly, precisely, yes. They felt she needed more mannish hands. So, yeah, that's where I came into play.
I mean, you are our first guest who has had a billboard in Times Square. So this is kind of a big deal for Gatriarchs.
Pretty excited about that, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know it was me unless you knew my hands very well, which I think Rob does. Yeah. Intimately.
Wait, insert all the hand job jokes here.
Exactly.
You got a hand job in Times Square, and your hand. I mean,
he got a hand job. Yeah, he did get a hand job in Times Square. Wow. We are so happy to have you. We love you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I love you. Gavin doesn't know you at all.
I'm soon to love you.
Yeah.
It's jury's out.
But you and I, just quickly, we all met again. Like meet all the guys on this show on the internet. You guys run a local Pride nonprofit, and you guys were having like a social night or something at the movies.
Yeah.
And my husband had like Googled when we moved to this town, like gay stuff in the area, and we got a lot of results. But then we saw that like, oh, they're going to see this movie, we should go. And so we went to the area where like they sell the popcorn and stuff, and we just sat there and we were nervous. And everybody who walked in the door, he would whisper to me like, do you think those are the gay people? Do you think those are the gays? And we just were so embarrassed because we didn't know anybody. And luckily, one of the other members came up to Brian, and my husband, and he had seen him on the bus going to work. And he was like, hey, I think I see you on the bus. And then we all joined them. We all became best friends. But now you guys are dads.
We are.
Of a fun little boy who I have had the pleasure of knowing for a long time. And you guys adopted
his whole life.
Yeah, his whole life, literally. Except for the first couple of weeks when you guys were in Florida. But I like to think I was there emotionally.
Mm-hmm. You were.
Yes. But so you guys adopted. But before you got to adopt your son, you guys went through a whole fucking a lifetime of experiences, both positive and negative. So I kind of wanted to chat with you guys about that, because there's a lot of people who adopt, obviously, and there's a lot of people who have failed adoptions or who are about to go into adopting. So I thought you guys would be really helpful to have on to tell your story about what happened and maybe some advice to people who are about to go into the world of adoption. So tell us first, what made you consider adoption?
Yeah. Want me to take it, Carl? I'll take this one.
Sure, yeah, you start out.
Carl's working on his hand jobs right now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why the camera's only up a little bit. Well, we're on a podcast, but anyway, just use your imagination. So we definitely, always wanted to start a family. It was important to us, through our many years of dating. We knew that that's, once we got married, that was the next step for us. And we definitely looked at all of our options: surrogacy, fostering, adoption. But for us, I think, adoption was the right fit for us. I'll say it right away, financially. That's obviously a big component of when you're trying to start your family as a gay parent, right? The financial aspect of it. And we just thought that, we've seen a lot of experiences with, providing homes to children who, need different opportunities, and the birth families, want to place them in a really great situation. So just the kind of act of adoption. And, Carl has family members and a cousin who's been adopted. So we have, adoption stories in our life, and we just wanted to make that one of ours. So Carl, if you wanted to add anything else.
No, I mean, you said it all.
Yep.
So yeah, exactly what Rob said.
Yeah. So you guys decided to adopt. Now, I went to a conference one time to learn about adoption, and I had no idea that there are a variety of ways to adopt. There's obviously foster adopt, but even in just the narrow lane of regular adoption. So tell us a little bit about like how if you're like, I want to adopt a kid, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, so there's two separate options essentially. There's foster to adopt, but then when you're looking at the other adoption piece of it, there's private adoptions, and then there's agency adoptions. And so you sort of have to decide which route that you want to go first. And really with both routes, the first step that you have to do is to get a home study done, which is basically a whole study on your home and your life. And it's done by a social worker. And that's all sort of the first part of the puzzle of what you have to do in the adoption process.
Yeah, you have to prove that your house is capable of raising a child, which is hilarious because I have seen some straight people raise children in some pretty questionable locations.
Yep.
And did you suddenly feel like you had to fold all the towels so that they all stacked up in a line and keep the kitchen way cleaner than you normally would? Or...
I know you don't know me, but my towels are always folded, just so you know.
Even always folded.
In which ways, though, did you have to adjust yourself quickly for somebody coming in and judging your house?
I think it's a deep clean, that's for sure. Right. But ultimately, we were, and we will touch upon this probably a little bit, but we were a part of a bunch of groups on Facebook, also trying to sort of figure out what was going on and what the process is like. And everyone just said, listen, don't go crazy, live your life and show your life as it is, and don't hide all the liquor bottles, and don't, because people do that. And, we wanted our social worker to just sort of get a better, authentic picture of who we were. So we just cleaned.
Yeah.
Really. Candles, just so you know, just scented candles and things like that, just to create a little bit more of a gay atmosphere. What
were the scents, Rob? What were the specific scents?
Probably like beach sandals or something, linen hanging on the line.
Beechwood candle if you want to adopt children. We had a guest on, I think 3 episodes ago, that was a dad who is a drag queen, and he said the same thing. He was like, I didn't know if I should like hide the drag part of me in like a closet or if I should keep it out, and he had to like second guess himself. I'm like, well, how am I going to impress these people?
Yeah.
No.
But it's living authentically, leaving out the beach sandalwood and the booze.
Correct, exactly.
But yeah, that was the first part. And then I guess really choosing private adoption versus agency adoption was the biggest thing we had to do.
What is the difference?
So when you do private adoption, you work directly with a lawyer. So it's an adoption lawyer that you start to work with, and essentially you become your own business, where you have to sort of do your own promotions for yourself and sort of put yourself out there in the hopes of matching with a prospective birth mother. And so the biggest difference is the private adoption is sort of you do all that legwork. If you're going through the agency adoption, the agency is doing the bulk of that for you.
So the private, you're saying like you have to like advertise yourself like online?
Basically, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to develop a marketing strategy for yourself, and that can include, at minimum, just posting online. We've seen all different things. For us specifically, we worked with a lawyer who has a website, so we automatically got to be posted on her website. You typically create these portfolio books, right? Booklets that can be handed out to prospective families or families considering. And literally, you put your life into this book. You put pictures of what you like to do, your family, it's like an extended resume, right? Like you're just putting it and really like what's going to attract this, birth family to select us to have their child live with us? What's the life that you want to put out there? We created business cards. We've created our own website.
I had some in my wallet. I had some in my wallet for a while. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No. I mean, and we've even heard people with business cards, in these Facebook chat groups be like, I would go into like Target and just put them right near the condoms and things like that. And it's like, we didn't go that route, but
wow.
It's those pieces. I've seen people on the internet.
We did go to ShopRite and put them on the board in
definitely
ShopRite.
Put it up in
any grocery shoppers were having children. Yeah.
I mean, I bet that is somebody's story. I guarantee you that is somebody's story.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I remember where's another place we put, I think outside the bathroom in the parking lot in Woodstock, New York. So
in Woodstock,
anytime we would go somewhere, we'd be like, oh, there's a cork board. Let's just put our faces up on it.
And did you get some random responses from that?
We did not get any really responses from that. I think
we had a few like random outreaches, and who knows if they were from those avenues or other avenues, but there was a few random ones that we never sort of knew where they came from.
I remember you getting a few calls from people, and then that would be the end of it, just like one call. So you guys decided to do private adoption?
Yes. It's so funny when you talk about this, Carl. You probably feel the same way. It really does bring up like this, like, I don't want to say PTSD, but it is a form of it. Like
sort of.
Sometimes even Carl and I, when we were talking before getting on this, we would talk it out loud. We're like, was that real life? That really happened? So, enough of the teasers. We'll jump right in. But
I mean, so I guess I'll go. So the first one was this woman from Florida, actually, who reached out to us, and I think she found us on Facebook, is where she found us originally.
And I already apologized for Florida. Like, those are my people. I already apologized.
That seems to be a theme
You have to do so much explaining. It's a heavy lift.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of responsibility. And Carl, before you jump into, I think we were in that group, one of the many adoption groups that we were in, and one of the monitors of that group, admins of that group, reached out to us to see if she could put us in contact with someone who had reached out to them, because that's sort of the process. They'll say, I'd like to talk to someone, and then they'll kind of, work together, and that's, was passed on to us.
Yeah. So she reached out to us, and we were chatting with her. We were in World Market shopping, and she started for the holidays, and she started to message with us, and we were like, oh my God, there's a birth mother talking to us. So we were like constantly trying to shop and also do this at the same time. But we set up a time to call with her that night, and we spent, I don't know, a good hour or hour and a half, 2 hours on the phone with her that night, just sort of talking through her situation, getting to know her a little bit more. And she ended up being like very interested in moving forward with us. And so she was like, I'd be happy to talk to your lawyer. Let's, put me in touch. So we ended the conversation that night super excited, and we emailed our lawyer. We're like, this is the first opportunity we've had. And then
the first real conversation you had too? Okay, so
conversation.
All right.
And meanwhile, this was in, like Carl said, I think you mentioned that it was Christmas, and we had kicked off our journey like right when COVID started. So we really didn't get into it until that August. So we've already been like active and live for probably about 4 months, and we really hadn't had any reach outs at all. So this was like the first one.
Right. So we had then left a message. We emailed our attorney and left her a message, and then the next morning she called us back, and she was starting to talk us through what the conversation was like. And she said, "Well, just let me, you gave me her information. Let me just tell you, I already put her out to my group of attorneys in the world out there, and there's already red flags coming up about this woman." And we were like, "Wow, what do you mean red flags?" And so she just started to say certain things that came up in our conversations.
Like she likes White Claw and like chunky sweaters and like that kind of like apple scented.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Which I was into. I was like, that's not a red flag for me. So just so you know,
you and I are basic bitches for fall. Yes,
correct. Yes. Well, I mean, David, remember you sent us a autumnal care package while we were in Florida post adoption, but maybe we'll get to that later.
And it included, I remember, it included mini hay bales. I sent
sure
you.
Did.
It did. It sure did.
Sorry.
And a little pumpkin.
And a little pumpkin. Sorry, continue, Carl. Yes.
So yeah, she said there's already red flags, tread carefully, basically. So what we did then is there's a Facebook group that we had joined called Ending Adoption Scams, which if you're going into the adoption process, I highly recommend joining this Facebook group. So this Facebook group is all filled with prospective, hopeful adoptive parents who are looking to adopt. And what they do is when they come across situations where they're connecting with prospective birth mothers, they'll sort of do due diligence posts where they say, hey, they won't put too much identifying information, but they'll say, you know, Crystal P from Utah, you know, and then if there's anybody else that's speaking with Crystal P from Utah,
Crystal with a K, I assume.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Then I worked with a girl one time. I waited tables at Mars 2112 when that was a thing in New York City. And there was a coworker of mine named Krystalz.
No. Like multiple?
Krystalz.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Was she from Utah?
Maybe.
Or Florida.
Yeah,
probably.
Or both.
Oh.
But basically, yeah, we did join this group. So we put out a post there about, you know, this conversation we'd had, and right away Rob got a response from another woman who said, I've also been in touch with this woman, can I message you?
Thank you for reminding me, because I actually forgot that. Carl's very good with the memory. I blank out and have don't remember.
And you like
certain
pumpkin
things.
spice.
And
so
I love pumpkin spice. That's it. Yeah, and she basically was saying that they had been speaking with this woman for a while, and basically all the way up to the point of contacting a lawyer, had sonograms, had sent money to this woman, and was funding her and supporting her already. So as soon as, you know, we told her that, obviously that was an enormous like punch in the face, I'm sure, for this woman, because they were ready to go down. And I think what we learned later, Carl, too, is that I think the lawyer also, you know, from what we can kind of determine, like, you know, was also being scammed by this woman, because lawyers also don't know, right? I mean, they may have no intent at all to, you know, put their child up for adoption. They could be pregnant.
Yeah, and that leads into a whole element of things that we had learned about in the adoption process that exists out there, which are these scams, which is something we found out pretty quickly. And there's a lot of, obviously, like this woman was like financial scam was a lot of it, but then there's also quite a few emotional scammers out there who will contact hopeful adoptive parents, get their hopes up, sort of lead them along, and then sort of disappear or ghost them, or, you know, and just to do it.
Now, was she actually pregnant?
We don't really know. I'll be honest with you. This one was very quick. Like in the matter of like Friday to Monday, we got all of this information and we were able to like squash it pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are nefarious people out there who are just doing this to fuck with you, like not even to get any money out of it.
So our lawyer told us when we were going, that's, you know, like Carl said, there's financial scammers, but most of them are emotional scammers. And there's actually one very well-known one, and you can go into all these groups. Her name is Gabby. She's been on Dr. Phil. And she...
Wait, why was she on Dr. Phil?
Because she's a known adoption scammer. And there's nothing that can legally be done because she's not taking any financial, you know, payments from anybody. But she creates these numerous profiles, talks to people, creates these voices. I mean, it's amazing. If you like Google her, it's crazy. And I would say, like, you know, we don't go into these Facebook groups too much right now because we're not active. But when we did, I mean, multiple times a day, people were like, that's Gabby. Don't worry. I've been talking to her.
I'm fascinated with how much time people have. Like, I think about my day.
Gabby.
I'm like, I wouldn't have time. I barely have time to remember my husband's birthday. I mean, like, how do people have the time for this?
Yeah. Right. Well, obviously, there's a little bit more, I'm sure, to Gabby.
I want to go down a Dr. Phil rabbit hole now and
man, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's move on from Florida woman. She was like, nope, you had a weekend of highs and lows, and then now you're moving on. So now what happened?
I think the next one after that, and you know, and mind you too, like that first call for us, like we've never spoken to anyone, so we're like, we don't even know what to say. Like it's in our hands. Like where's my mom? Like I feel like you want to say like those things, like help, like you know, like I don't know how to navigate this. It's like multiple first dates, like when you go from that like online chat to like, oh, we're gonna talk on the phone now, right? Like just really like, you know, that was the first time for us. So we had a little bit like we treaded the waters of like how we kind of introduce ourselves, what we talk about. So the next one, I mean, again, it kind of we didn't really get many people reading out. We were also finding out from our lawyer that COVID caused a lot of adoptions to like slow down immediately, and this was like known across the board, where they thought it would increase. So across the board, everybody, like
people got dogs, not babies.
People got dogs.
Exactly.
I think it gave people what we heard, like it gave people different perspectives on the family mentality. I think
bars were closed, so one night stands stopped happening.
Like logistically,
yeah.
So that happened. So it wasn't actually, David, we were with you. I feel like we're always with you when these popped up. And we got, we would get like little moments here and there of people reaching out through our website and say, please reach out to me. We were away with David and a group of friends, and, we got one of those calls and we tried to reach out and they just, wouldn't answer our call or they wouldn't follow up. So that happened a lot. And then really, Carl, right? I mean, nothing from that moment in November until April. Bum-ba-dum. And
Wow.
this is when the magic begins for us. And so we had an outreach in our Facebook Messenger. And obviously we won't mention names, but Aunt so-and-so, we wound up calling her. But no, we did get a reach out from somebody. And we started chatting with her. She was from, I guess we can say where she's from, right? That doesn't really matter. She was from Tennessee. And this woman quickly entered our lives, and she stayed in our lives for 4 months, right? 4 months, 3 months. And we learned all about her, and she connected with us really quickly. She was a mother who had multiple children, wanted an open adoption.
What does that mean?
So open adoption, there's multiple ways to approaching adoption. So like if you want an open adoption, which most are now to let everyone know, that's where the birth mother wants some sort of relationship continued through the life of the child. There's semi-open where maybe you would just share photos and phone calls. And then there's also closed adoption where in the past, that used to be where you maybe never knew the birth parents, and you were provided a child through an agency or some sort of program, or closed in this day and age is just the birth family or mother does not want to continue with a relationship and sort of ends once you adopt the child and receive the child from them.
And so Miss Tennessee wanted an open one.
Yep. So she was, and that thrusted us. We had to kind of consider all this stuff when we did our home study, right? Like, what kind of adoption do you want? So we, on our end, had to make these decisions ahead of time, right? All the decisions, and we didn't talk about that. You have to talk about race. You have to talk about sex of the child if you want. Would you be willing to adopt a child who had issues or drug addictions, right? So all of those things we kind of had ready to go. So when she presented this semi-open relationship, we were into it. Obviously you're like, you have to gauge the thing, but when you haven't heard anything for a while too, you really sort of start to prioritize what's important to you. So we were okay with moving forward with her.
And so you also have to consider, like, with an open, you're kind of adding a person into your family.
Correct.
And what all the things that brings, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
I mean, open relationships have many different meanings.
It sure does.
Part of it too.
Yeah.
That's another podcast conversation. So you can invite us on that after hours.
Yeah. Or just part two. We're good with that too. We're good with that.
But anyway, so Miss Tennessee, you guys started talking on the phone all the time, and
2 hours a day.
2 hours a day. Yeah. So we literally, the first conversation with her was about an hour. And let me tell you, she is Tennessee, right? Like she jumped right in there, the accent, it was a whole different culture, a different, lifestyle, what she was talking about, her personality.
And we're not talking about Nashville. We are talking about like Tennessee.
Yeah, we're talking about Tennessee.
Yeah, correct. Right? And I remember you guys. If I would ever swing by or I'd call you, like, we're on the phone with Miss Tennessee. Oh. It was just like every day that phone would ring, you guys would like look at each other and be like, "Here comes 2 hours of our life." Yeah.
Well, so because what it started, we started to learn about her, and Carl, obviously, I'll pass over to you for your details on it, but we started learning all about her. So she definitely was a woman who started putting out her whole life, right? 12 kids, her background of history. She connected with us because she was originally from New Jersey, which is where we're based. So there was a lot of like things like that, right? So a lot of connecting, a lot of, just bonding really quickly. So there's a lot of like sort of emotional connection starting, right? Because now we're starting to learn about her, we're asking about her, et cetera. And as Carl said, on average, at minimum, it would be an hour a day that we would speak to her. on the phone.
I don't have that many things to say to anybody. Yeah. Definitely not David. No, definitely not my own partner. No. My kids, an hour a day. Oh, no. Get back on your phone, kids. I'm done.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, what do you talk about? Like your favorite TV shows ultimately? Or are you talking about having an open relationship?
A lot of it was just like listening to her and her talk and then hearing her other 12 kids screaming in the background and like her dealing with them and listening to just listening to her life essentially is what we were doing every day. But then it came down to the point where we had, she had sent us sonograms and everything, so we knew she was pregnant. She sent us medical records. All of that was cleared. She was ready to move forward. She wanted us to come down for a visit. So we did. So we bought our tickets to fly to Tennessee to go meet her. And that was an experience, to say the least. That's going to be a whole other podcast at one point.
All right. No, legitimately, the day they flew back, my husband and I drove over there. We sat down, we opened a bottle of wine, and I was like, tell me everything. Because we got a few texts while you're down there, but I was like, because you had spent a whole weekend there, right?
Yeah. And we kind of listen, I mean, we talked to this woman, right? And this was in July we were planning to go. So we went from April to the beginning of July talking multiple times. So we basically know this woman, right? Quote unquote, right? We know her. And there's been ups and downs with her, right? I mean, she never really asked for money during this time. The one thing we did support during this time in partnership, with our lawyer, saying it was okay. And what most people do is we did provide her with phone cards because her phone number was changing all the time. And for us, we had a Google phone set up, right? So it's a private number that's not connected to us personally, so that we can remain a little bit of, have a little bit of, anonymity. Why would I try to use that word on the podcast?
I could hear you preparing to say the word, and I could hear your brain go, "Oh God, can I say this word?" And I was like, "What
synonym? What cinnamon can I do before I say this word?" Oh my gosh! Yeah, so we provide her with phone cards. So we were giving her this. So we started, doing that. As Carl mentioned, she kind of she signed. We had to get her to sign some paperwork, which also was a hassle and a burden because she didn't have a permanent address. So we were like, how are we going to get this packet of paperwork to her for her to sign? And once we did, we Googled some images about the area, as David mentions, and we knew we were going to a place where it wasn't our normal neck of the woods, if you will. It's not where we'd choose to go on vacation, right? Even though
there are a variety of appliances in the front yard.
Correct. Yes. Yes. But so we planned to go down there and visit her. We scheduled the time, bought gifts, right? Because one thing is there is a weird kind of element of having to charm these families, right?
You're dating.
You're dating.
This is dating
right?
for a lifelong commitment.
And it's a weird balance of not influencing a person or coercing them to give you their child, but you want to make sure that they're comfortable with it.
And you haven't dated a woman in a long time.
I mean, I hear that's what you have to do, right? Give gifts, be nice. No, I'm just, so
give gifts to their other kids.
Gifts to their other kids.
Just like how you date women normally.
Yeah. So then we knew that we were going to go down and meet. So we met a neutral. We went down and we wanted to meet on a neutral ground because we did get some feedback, based on where this person lived. You do not want to go there. Do not go into that town. So we found a neutral place near, I guess I could say, right, Carl, near Dollywood.
Nice.
Yeah, near that area.
Where our Lord and Savior lives. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Exactly.
We went down there and we met her and we knew we were going to meet her. And we had to figure out though how she was going to meet us, right? So we met in a public place, right? We wanted to make sure that we were on level playing field because we also don't know if she's real, right? There's also an element to say too.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
You're going down to Tennessee as two gay men to meet someone you have no idea who they are, that we also kind of knew, I think, had a criminal background, question mark, because you also become internet sleuths on everybody. And we send us your list of people you want to research because Carl and I are experts at finding out about everybody now.
And there's also a part of you who is there's a real possibility of us landing here and nobody showing up and that person disappearing.
Sure.
That was a real
100%. Yeah. I mean, we vetted. She's spoken to our lawyer. We knew we trusted our gut. I mean, we did. We had to make that chance. And listen, we're excited. We're saying all this stuff, but honestly, when it comes down to it, we know when it comes down to it, here's a woman making a decision about placing her child with people that she doesn't know either. So, we kind of laugh, but it is a serious, I think we had to laugh and make light of the situation in the moment, because it's such a nerve-wracking thing. The element, like you just said, going to meet a stranger in this strange place, and also maybe knowing, like, is this even going to work out? I'm investing this time without really any contract that's being signed.
Well, so we had to get her there because she didn't have a car. So what we did is we actually used a car service to pick her up. And where she was about 45 minutes from where we were going to meet her. So we arranged for a car service who last minute then canceled on us. So we had to quickly find a last minute car service to get her, which we did. And they arranged it, and they went and they picked her up. And when we're waiting there for her to show up that day, we're waiting outside of Margaritaville.
Classic.
As you do.
Yep.
Why not?
And in the traffic circle pulls this SUV, and out of this SUV.
Well, what kind of SUV was it?
It's a Mercedes SUV.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
because
all right.
unbeknownst to us, this company was only sending Mercedes to pick people up places.
Wow.
And out of this SUV.
I mean, you know how to woo a woman. That is clear.
Right?
Mind you, sorry, Carl, not to bet. It was also $400, just so you know.
Oh my God.
To be able to get that for it, yes.
Good thing Carl has that hand money from Times Square.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
residuals.
I did it. Yeah. But then she got out of the Mercedes SUV, and it was her and 3 of her kids that she had brought with her. And it kicked off our day, to say the least of it. Yeah. And not to go into too many details, because we don't want to, give too many details about her life away. But essentially, this was a family who'd probably never been to an area like this, and children who'd never been to an area like this. And so we spent a good we had arranged to be there for 3 hours with them, and we basically spent the entire 3 hours babysitting her kids, who were all over the place. We were chasing after them. We were climbing into fountains, grabbing them, trying to keep them safe, while she just sort of watched us and sort of saw how we did with her kids. And it was stressful, to say the least.
But she was engaged. I mean, she wasn't like she was watching. Okay.
She was
like this wasn't
us.
some like thoughtful test for you guys. This was just maybe her parenting style.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We didn't. I mean, we didn't know. Maybe she was like, I want to see how these people were children, as she drags her cigarettes in front of us. So that also was another thing, right? So
because she's visibly pregnant at this point.
So we've confirmed she's pregnant. So here we go.
Yeah.
So at least.
And that's another thing about the adoption world is our attorney advised us to just be aware that for the most part, many of the birth mothers that you come upon will be smokers. So we had that been prepped
Make
for
peace
that.
with that.
And when she let us know that she was as well, and that was something we were comfortable with. Again, that's home study stuff. Are you comfortable, having a kid whose mother has been smoking? So that's a part of it.
So what did you order at Margaritaville that day? And how many margaritas did you have to deal with this?
Even swooping in with the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
Right, we didn't go to Margaritaville. We'd actually planned to go to Paula Deen Kitchen, which was also there.
Yeah, take her to lunch.
Get some
stick of butter.
Within the first 10 minutes of us being with them, we suddenly realized this is not a restaurant excursion. We need to figure out something fast. We got to do something. So we ended up doing... We did pizza. Pizza was.
And just to paint another picture of this experience was like, as Carl mentioned, like within 10 minutes of coming to us, these kids are climbing over barriers, digging dirt out, throwing it on the ground, running into traffic that we're running after, laying down on the ground, face down, climbing into cornhole buckets. And
were they happy doing this, or were these temper tantrums?
No, they were just, I think, free. Yeah. So
this is fascinating.
Sat down and she's sitting, and at least one of us, Carl and I, are running after her children. We just met them, right? So we're running out. Plus, also now, the people that are around us are like, what's happening? And
these are Tennessee people judging you. So you're like, whoa.
Well, I mean, they don't know what our relationship I mean, I could be her husband, and here I am. I'm like, well,
Rob.
I'm like, girl, come back here. They don't know. They're like, he must have come from Dollywood. Yeah, we are running after these children. So we have to like start moving, right? We have to like get on our feet and figure out how we're going to manage this day. Because as Carl said, this car is not coming back for another 3 hours. It's not even like we're like, okay, nice to see you. We have to facilitate them getting home. So, Carl, how did the next stage go in this excursion?
I mean, listen, we can go into many details about it, but like essentially it was 3 hours of that, and we ended up getting the car to come a little bit early. But essentially when the car came, we had to also then pick up the kids and carry them across the whole park because we were on the opposite end of the park. So we did that while they were sort of meandering. We finally got them back to the car. We made sure they got in, that they left and they were on their way. And at that point, I think is when Rob and I sort of stopped and just looked at each other and literally started just crying. It had been so stressful that we just were like, what did we just go through?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went back to the hotel and she was texting us about how great it was to meet us. And she's so excited that, we're going to be a part of her life and her kids' life. And so it ended positively in that regard. And then we flew home the next day. And then within a week, our attorney called us and let us know that she had reached out to our attorney and had said that she changed her mind and she decided that she wanted to raise the kid on her own.
And you were like, thank God. At that point, you were ready to move forward, or were you second guessing it?
No, we were ready. I mean, that's the thing too. What's so emotional about it is that you are in this moment, and we didn't have any option. We've committed to this woman. We felt it was right. Even after this emotional experience, we did have to kind of say, this woman wants an open relationship. Like, are we going to be able to deal with this? Like, is this the situation we want to constantly put in ourselves in? And ultimately, we said yes.
Yeah.
So we were going forward, and we were definitely blindsided when we got this call. And so was our lawyer. I mean, she was flabbergasted. She goes, the time and commitment you guys have put in this, I had no idea this is where it would go. And David, we saw you that night too. You're always with. Yeah, I mean, David really was along with this whole journey. We saw it, and he knew something was up because right before we were going into a friend's dinner, we got that call, and we didn't want to bring the buzz down for the dinner that this commitment and this had failed for us. But David knew something was up.
I knew exactly what had happened. I said nothing to you. I saw you walking out of the restaurant on the phone, bringing Carl, and then you were gone. And then when you came back in, I don't know, I'm just a sensitive person, but I could see on your faces two people who were performatively not totally fine, who I knew something, and I just kind of put the pieces together, which was, I was so devastated. And I also didn't want to be like, what's wrong over, fried chicken or whatever. So,
So then it's sort of like its own grieving process, right? Like it's a very weird thing to have to go through when it's never really been your child to begin with. But we had to figure out how to go that and how to navigate that, sort of all those feelings that came up with that, and that recognition of like having to start over again. And it was its own process. So we sort of took our time to do a little bit of that. And then about a month went by and another opportunity came along.
Well, so the other opportunity went on, we went through that. And mind you, I just want to add we had also announced socially that we were matched. So we put that off for a very long time until we went to go meet her. And a week later, we literally had to like reverse that and inform everybody that we were not matched. And that was difficult. So, so once we decided to move forward, we took about a couple weeks off from like pushing and promoting. We just needed to kind of like get back to our jobs and just focus on that. And then we put the reins back on. And one day we got a message from David's husband saying that there was a post in a gay fathers group about a couple that couldn't go forward with an adoption due to a match due to personal reasons. And so we jumped in there really quickly. And we, he was looking to request, like, send me your profiles. I'd love to help this woman who we've been match with a perfect family. I want to kind of take that off of her. So, we sent the message right away. I also noticed that this guy had a mutual friend. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. So I reached out to a mutual friend, was like, hey, is this guy for real? Would you mind reaching out to him and say, hey, there's two guys that you're friends with that sent you what you were asking for? And so we connected with them, and, he was like, I'm collecting some people, going through some things. I'll let you know if we move forward. And a couple of weeks went by, and we didn't hear from him, and he checked back in with us, and he's like, I'm still vetting some things. Tell me about your story again. And we told him.
Tell us if you've deep cleaned your house, because we need to know that.
Correct. I was like,
show us the corners of your living room. Yeah.
This beach sandal candle is about to burn its last wick. And so, yeah, we contacted him and he was about to talk to her. And, still though, like we felt so close and we were jaded because after that experience, right, Carl, I mean, we put this wall up, right? We're like, now we're like going to be very kind of unpersonable until we can really feel and invest our emotions because it's happened. We were just gut punched from this experience. So we went in sort of very business-like to be like, okay, thank you for considering us, right? But when, but also we were like, we're so close and we're still having to go through a process. But finally I connected with him one morning and he was like, your story about your failed match and kind of, you're similar to me. We have mutual friends. I'm going to just pass you over to her and not consider other people for this match. And it was like divine intervention and meant to be, put us in contact with this birth mother, and we matched with her. And so now we had a formal relationship with a new woman, who was
many open relationships.
Another relationship. Who Carl, right, was the complete opposite.
I was just gonna say this woman. It was the the total inverse of Miss Tennessee.
Exactly.
Silent. Did not really communicate. Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't really communicate well. We found out wanted a more closed adoption, because she just didn't want to, be involved after the child was born, and yeah, just not communicative. So it was just a matter of trying to then sort of navigate that relationship with her. Which we did, and she ended up being the birth mother to our now son.
Yeah. Gosh. So your son was born, and then you had to fly down there to meet him. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So she was from Florida.
Florida giveth and Florida taketh away.
Listen, it is like I could say we have the one amazing thing sorry, David. The second amazing thing that's come out of Florida.
Nice. Good recovery.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't want to be blacklisted from future participation. But yeah, so
we have so much fodder for future episodes. For sure.
Exactly. So we matched with this woman. This again, so we'll try to give you high level details on this one because it also was a very emotional experience. They are all very emotional, but this one ultimately was a different kind of emotional experience. We matched with this woman, again, very non-communicative. We had a real struggle with trying to get paperwork signed because we really can't match them. We're also responsible for helping the birth mother get in contact with a lawyer as well. And our lawyer is very protective of us, right? That's why you hire a lawyer. She did not want us going to that route until we had paperwork signed. And paperwork meaning medical releases that we can dig in, find more about the baby, because it's not really a release to like say I'm committing for adoption, but it's so we can kind of gauge the level of interest about this is something that's like a real match. So we had we did not have an easy time with that. In fact, we talked to her and she started to text with us that she was probably having some pains, etc., and some pregnancy concerns. And one random day, she was due in September, and this was the end of August, and texted us finally and said, hey, I have some good news and bad news. And we were like, oh God, here we go. What is it going to be? She said, the good news is he's here and he was born.
Oh. Wow.
And the bad news was that he was born at home. So she did not have medical treatment at the time. So bad news for, obviously, for safety and things like that. But, he was ultimately safe. I'll get to the end. I think it was a surprise early birth for her. So we, mind you, have not contacted a lawyer with her. She has not signed paperwork. And now we're like, what do we do? What do we do? And Carla, if you want to take the next stages of that.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, we ended up having to get in touch with our lawyer, and because of the way that things were panning out, and part of this as well was her, after he was born, sort of disappearing for a few days.
Yeah, I remember that being the scariest part was you got this text of he's here, and then she just went radio silent. You guys where is he? Where do we go? What do we do? Yeah.
Right. So ultimately, she disappeared for a few days, which was a whole other element of things going on inside. And then we ended up, she got back in touch and she went to the hospital because she hadn't been to the hospital. for a few days after he was born, and went to the hospital and had been there with him, and left the hospital, had left him with the hospital, and basically had said, Rob and Carl are going to adopt him, and left. And that was it.
Wow.
But because there was no paperwork or anything involved, when our attorney reached out to figure out what was going on the next day, was informed that the child was essentially considered abandoned at the hospital and was basically headed into foster care or into the child welfare system. So we very quickly were on the phone with her, with our attorney, and then what happened is we ended up having to also bring on an agency. So while we've been trying to not go through an agency adoption the entire time, in order to sort of interfere or get involved with the child welfare system of that state, we had to hire a state local agency to help us with the adoption process. So within the span of a day, we were able to do that somehow. And they got in touch with her. She signed the paperwork, and as soon as she did that, we got the go ahead to fly down and meet him. So then we got the news to go ahead. We bought our tickets and we flew down the next day. Mind you, this is also Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend, so everything is closed. But we get the tickets, we fly down to Florida, and we're driving from Jacksonville to Central Florida where he was, and get the phone call from the hospital social worker that was just like, "Do you guys want to come meet your son?" And so we did, and he was in the NICU, and this is another part of his story, and a part of a lot of adoption stories these days is that there's children right now who are being born, and because of the opioid crisis and all of these things, there's just a lot of kids right now who are being born that have that in their system. So there's a thing called neonatal abstinence syndrome, which we have now learned a lot about, but that is something that he was in the NICU for. And we knew going into it that his mother had been addicted to opiates and had been then taking medication to help herself through the pregnancy and help the baby through the pregnancy. So when he was born, he had to go through a withdrawal of those things. And so he was in the NICU. So we flew down to Florida not having any idea of how long we'd have to be there with him while he was in the NICU going through this. But we ended up having to be there for about a month, which was an unexpected amount of time. But we were with him sort of through that process. We were so grateful. And if you need a charity to donate to, please donate to the Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
Because we were able to live there the entire time that we were waiting for him to go through this process. And they were so fantastic with us, even during COVID-ish times. They were amazing. And we were there about a month, and then we had to wait for Florida to clear us to leave. We had to wait for New Jersey to clear us to come into the state with him. But as soon as we got that clearance, we booked our tickets and got on a flight, and were able to fly home with him about a month after we had met him in the hospital.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the truncated-ish version of
very
all
truncated.
That.
But I think when Carl was saying in the NICU, we had to he had to go through withdrawal, as we mentioned, and it really is no light at the end of the tunnel, like in the moment, right? For those who aren't familiar, like this withdrawal process is you really have to allow the baby to go through it, and it's sort of like this measurement system and scale system which enables them, because they have to wean him off of any drugs in his body, and also give other drugs like morphine to balance the withdrawal. So they have to gauge this, and we're in the NICU, and so grateful for the amazing work that like NICU nurses done.
Yep.
I don't know how they do it.
Yep.
We are so grateful. We met some really amazing people who honestly really were guides in us like learning how to be parents and take care during this time
Those
period.
Nurses
we
are amazing. They taught they taught me a lot of stuff. Yeah.
We had hands-on training of how to bathe your child. Where people just are like, here's your baby a day after, good luck. We had the master class, but at the same time, you are getting a lot of different nurses who are subjective in different ways. So we're seeing like this different scaling system. Some nurses are saying, oh, he had a bad night. And some like, oh, he's good. So we have no end at the light of at the end of the tunnel at this point. And that was in another hard place, because also we can't go home and sleep in our beds at night, right? We have to go sleep in a one room room at the Ronald McDonald House during COVID.
With a giant framed photo of Grimace over the bed, right? Like right over the bed, staring at you as you go to bed.
Naked, which is odd.
I was like, it was uncomfortable, but nice.
Yeah. But no, so we had to go through that. And, even as you're going through this, they're like, we don't know when you're going to leave. Like mid this process, we also then were told as soon as we align with the plan, like, hey, if we're going to be here longer, we can do XYZ where you can take them back to New Jersey and do this thing. But then we're told that we have to move different floors and go to the pediatric ward, which is a whole other different medical team.
Yeah.
So literally you're plucked up, put into a different thing where there's a different team who's going to give different medical advice and a different approach than we've been doing for the past 3 weeks.
And you've just made your home there, and you've got what their coffee orders are, and
correct. We know these people. Yeah.
Were you an anomaly as a gay couple there at that hospital as well?
Yeah, for sure.
And we didn't know going down there what we would take, but we were in a very liberal area of Florida. So we were supported very well there. So in fact, I felt like everybody came out of the woodwork because they were like, there's 2 gay dads, and everyone would come up to us. And I think we had at least 3 nurses come out to us while we were down there. We're like,
You had one guy be like, one time I made out with my best friend in middle school. You're like, I don't know how this has anything to do with me.
She was like, and it would always end with like, and I'm a lesbian. I was like, ball change,
okay, great. Like, love Home Depot. Thank you for all you've done. Like, yeah.
I know, but they were just showing their support, and which was amazing because we were known as rescue dads because the way he came in, he did not have his name given to him, and they were very they asked us what we were naming him, and they did what they could to make those personal touches how they could, because they did have to follow. We weren't his legal guardians yet. We were custodians through the adoption agency. So they did have to get permission and certain things, but they were very big on making sure that this was like the experience that we needed to have as first time parents, and like all the other things didn't trump. Oh, I can't believe I used that word. Didn't overshadow, what our first, time as parents would be experiencing in that.
So all of that happened. And now you're fucking parents.
Yeah.
And so fast forward to today. You're parents now. How's it going?
Yeah. We're hitting the terrible twos, which is awesome.
Man, so fun.
Yeah, we've had plenty of experiences. My favorite, I think, so far has been bringing him to daycare, and when he decided to just throw up all over himself and into his car seat while I'm driving the car to daycare. And then you open up that car door very quickly to see what's there. And I was like,
Nothing good is there, Carl. Nothing's good. Don't open that door, Carl, because
I had to. And then it was a case where, because you know how much daycare can be. So it was a case of like, okay, we're just going to see what we can clean up here in the parking lot so I can get you inside.
Yes.
Because I think this is just car sickness.
You are fucking
You're going to daycare. And those car seats, for those of you who have never had to deal with it, if you puke in a car seat, the amount of nooks and
so many crevices
that stuff hides
many crevices, and you just find dried vomit months and months and months later. Or is it cereal? Who knows?
I also so love, Carl, you are so aligned on this. Like, you're going to daycare. I will fucking go to a thrift store and buy some crazy clothes to put on you. You are going to fucking daycare today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is that element. So there's been that.
Oh, for sure. But just to add to your fun story too, so Carl works like in the same building that the daycare is in. So he also had to bring up that car seat to air out in his office. And he does intakes and interviews of new, students and families coming in. And later on that day, one of his coworkers came in and said, "It smells like vomit in here." And so that family had to sit in a room that smelled like, what do we say? Parmesan. I mean, it's pretty much like Parmesan cheese. I know, just to go there.
But did all of daycare get sick afterwards, or did you just tuck your tail?
No, not that time. He was fine that time. That was just like I think maybe car sickness. There's been many other times where he's been patient zero, but that was not the case then.
Yeah, my favorite story for him so far, and I want to also say too, we segued into this. Our son is insanely healthy right now. He has come out of that. There's no residual effects that we notice right now.
He's been amazing since he came home. My personal experience of just seeing him from the outside, like it's nothing. He's just a regular.
Oh yeah,
kid.
No,
he's an asshole.
Regular kid,
he's just
healthy.
Racist,
side eye for the
homophobic.
gods.
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can take the gator out of Florida, but Anyhow, yeah. So I just want to say that. But my favorite moment, right? And I cannot deal with vomit, just so you know. I don't think anyone is like signed me up for it, but that's Carl's much better at that. So he's the vomit guy. I think my most favorite one recently with him is, he's in the bathtub, saw some bubbles. Hey, I think he loves bubbles, right? He has this little bubble machine that's coming up. Let's get him some bubble bath, right? Let's fill that bathtub with Mr. Bubbles, so he comes in and his mind is blown that there's bubbles. Well, what we learned very quickly that was not a good idea, and screamed for the gods. Hated
afraid
bubbles.
Of bubbles.
Afraid of bubbles.
Afraid of bubbles.
A lot of bubbles. Minimum bubbles. Okay.
You made like Hollywood notion of like a starlet's going to lay in 6 inches of bubbles or no?
Correct. Like arched foot just dipping out,
6 inches of bubbles reminds me of an unfortunate incident in a circus once. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, continue.
I thought that was your drag name too, 6 inches of bubbles. So during that moment, Carl's mom was also here. So naked, screaming, about to put him in, screaming. Carl had to drain it, like wipe the tub. As he's screaming too, I guess the shock of it all forced him to also now start peeing, and peed directly on Carl's mom's shoe.
Nice.
While he spun around in a circle.
Could be way
and
worse.
Sort of just.
I mean, let's.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I would say like that's like the most like recent thing that we'd had to deal with.
Parenting is glorious, and that's what we say every day on this podcast.
And
it's
a glorious mess
and joy and love. You guys, we have taken too much of your time, but thank you sincerely.
Thank you for demeaning yourselves.
I'm so happy that you guys came on here and told us your story, and I think it's super important and super helpful for people who are maybe going through this. And also that there's light on the other side. You can also get pissed on by your future son if you just hang in there.
Yes.
For sure.
Thank you guys for having us. It was so nice to talk to you today.
So my something great is a game I've started to play with myself this week, and that is gay dads or waiting for their wives.
Uh-huh.
The game is you see two dads and you see them with their kid or kids and they're talking to each other and you're just thinking, are they gay? And you want them to see you because you're like, we're gay. Are we gay dads? Should we have a conversation? And then you wait because either they're going to like touch hands or clearly do something that makes them husbands or their wives will eventually join them. So that's my new favorite game to play is gay dads or waiting for their wives.
You know what something great is? David F.M. Vaughn, because he does 99% of this podcast, and I am really appreciative. And when I suddenly realize, I look at our document that we share together, and I have nothing great to report because basically everything is awful in my house right now. Just kidding.
I finally made it.
David, you're my something.
I finally made it to this something great. And this is why I created this podcast was for you to say that to me. So this will be our last episode, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the Gatriarchs podcast.
Bless you for not firing me, David, for coming unprepared today. And that is our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at gatriarchspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at Gatriarchs Podcast. On the internet, David is at David F.M. Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge at Port Authority in New York City.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Gatriarchs.